did another DJs BrewTube beer review. The day is done. It's time for a reward beer once again, guys. I've done all my work, housework, chores, car maintenance. You know the things I do. So, it's time to kick back and dig into a little malt. I've been drinking a lot of hoppy beers lately. I'm thinking I want something malty and classic. So where am I going to go to acquire my reward beer today? I'm going to go to Fuller Smith & Turner out of Chiswick, London, UK. And I'm going to have their Fuller's Vintage Ale, 2014 vintage. That's right, this is an old ale. It's an annual release. It comes out around Christmas time, you know, sort of December, somewhere around there. So a time of review, this has about 6 months on it. Now, this is a beer that I would usually sell her. However, this beer was sent to me by Fuller's, or at least their marketing company, Southern Marketing. They sent me the beer. They sent me a lovely Fuller's ESB bar towel, a lovely thank you note for reviewing the beer and considering them. Why not? Hey, it's a beer to review, and it's one that I've heard of that is awesome. And we've got a long list of vintages here and talk how this is a great beer to have as verticals. And I've seen up to 15-year verticals done of this beer. That's pretty impressive. Now you're saying, how can it be 15 years? Well, this is the 18th vintage of this beer, 2014. They give you a little card about all the other 17 previous vintages right in the box, which is really cool. So each year, you hear me saying about all these other vintages, well, they change the beer a little bit. The recipe changes. So the base of this beer, the malt, pretty much stays the same from what I can tell from reading and research. For malts, they use malted barley, crystal, and flaked maize or corn. So maybe it's like an adjunct beer. Hey, they got some corn in there. And for hops in this beer, they use Target, Challenger, and Northdown. That's pretty much, you know, a theme through all the beers. Those malts and those 3 hops. But what they've done to change this one up this year, you know, sometimes they'll add another malt in there like they used Pearl malt before, say. But this year, they've added a dry hop addition as like an homage to the folks in the United States who are really digging their beers. And they've dry hopped it with Liberty and Cascade hops. That sounds freaking awesome. I'm wondering if this is going to be like hoppy barley wine, like, I don't know. But it does have 6 months on it. So it's time to stop flapping my gums. Thanks a million to Fuller's/Southern Marketing for sending me this beer. Time to pop the top on this bad boy, get it in the snifter, and tell you what's up with the 2014 vintage of Fuller's Vintage Ale. Boom. Nice pop off the top. Obsessively collectible crown under the sticker. Let's get it in the glass. I'm ready for some malt happiness in my life. Look at that, guys. That's pouring gorgeous. I'm going to stop pretty soon because this kind of snifter accumulates pretty quickly because of the taper. So let's get the appearance on it. This is a bottle-conditioned beer, but it's crystal clear, a gorgeous caramel color with lots of very faint burnt orange glints coming through this super clear beer. We've got a one-finger head that's a little bit soap sudsy and some tight bubbles mixed. It's a nice khaki off-white color when I swirl it. Yeah, we're going to get nice glass lacing on this, and we're getting tons of alcohol legs when I swirl. Look at that, guys. Gorgeous-looking beer in the glass. Time to see what's up with the aroma. Lovely dark fruits. I'm getting like orange, but like sweet orange, like candied orange. Caramel. A bit of grassiness, some earthy notes. But lots of nice dark fruit, like cherry dark fruit, mixed with candied orange zest, sort of like a sweet candied orange zest, caramel, toffee. It doesn't smell like a barley wine, but it smells like a cellared American barley wine that was meant to be cellared. You know, kind of like maybe Bigfoot in some ways, but not that hoppy. Wow. It's all about the caramel, sweetness, dark fruits, and to me, candied orange and a bit of grassy and earthiness. Smells delicious. The head's dissipated. It's time to dive in. Cheers. Thanks, man, for sending this to me. Fuller Smith & Turner. Cheers. Wow. Nice medium mouthfeel, impressing me right up front. The first thing I get hit with is the dark fruits from that English ale yeast. After that comes that candied orange that I'm getting from the hops, one of them. A bit of grassiness. There's an herbaceous tone and some earthiness, or like earthy bitterness in the middle to the back of the palate. Super smooth. Super easy to drink. The alcohol is totally hidden. It's got a nice palate cleansing sort of carbonation from that bottle conditioning. And as you drink it, the bitterness grows, I guess, from the hop but it's an earthy bitterness, not a piney or dank bitterness or anything like that. But wow, really tasty beer. I'm gonna sit on this one a little bit, take a little break here, sip on this, let it warm up, and take the flavor ride a little bit, and then I'll come back with my final thoughts and grades on this beer back then. Okay, gang, I've been drinking on this beer for the better part of 45 minutes now, and I tell you what, as it sits and gets warmer, the flavors amplify really nicely on this beer, as does the mouthfeel. It actually becomes a little bit more viscous and coating as it's warmed up, and the dark fruit from the yeast, that has really amplified, as well as some burnt brown sugar and toffee notes, and also that sort of candied orange zest that I was getting in the nose. It's actually more present as the beer warms. I'm expecting that's coming from the dry hop in some way. But really tasty beer, super smooth the entire time. The alcohol is totally hidden even as it warms. Some beers, as they warm up, their alcohol will show more. If there's a little touch of it, like warming in the chest, and a little tiny alcohol taste in there, but this beer, as I drink it, I really get the sense that it really is meant to be cellared and meant to be part of like a big vertical tasting maybe, or to get better with age. Old ales and barley wines are meant to do that, and this beer is a great example of it. I mean, the flavors are spot on. I was a little worried that it was going to be, a hop bomb, kind of saying that they've dry hopped it, with Liberty and Cascade. I was like, man, this is going to be dank and too hoppy, American barley wine like, but it's not that. Those hops that have been added to it are really, just adding like flavor components, not so much like bitterness. So maybe they put in, late addition type hops, or it is a dry hop, so maybe they only got, flavor out of it instead of that bitterness and that big hop bite. But really tasty beer, and I'd love to do a, vertical of this one day, get like a, 5 to 6 year, vert of this and drink through. Why even more? Not just because I really sense that this is going to cellar great, but because the fact that they change the ingredients each year, that would keep a vertical interesting in my mind, because you'd be able to tell more the difference between the different vintages as opposed to a beer that's meant to be the same every single year that you cellar, which is a fun thing to do as well. So, you hear me waxing fantastic about this beer. Let's grade it now. Rate Beer gives it a 97, straight up almost A+. Beer Advocate gives it a 93. Now, I'm going to grade this as it is, as a fresh beer. And those grades that you heard me mention, the 93 from Beer Advocate and the 97 from Rate Beer, those are cumulative grades. That's how they pile up these scales, and you see all different vintages and hodgepodge. I think as a fresh beer, I'm going to give this a 95. I'm going to give it an A. It's very well made. It's a classic preparation, sort of prototypical old ale right from the UK that other people who make old ales want to make their old ale like this beer, I think. Very well made, not because they sent me this beer to try. It's just a fact. It's a well-made beer. I've reviewed Fuller's Porter before, and I've had their ESB and a lot of their other beers, and I've enjoyed them. This is a very well-made beer that I would buy again, and I'm going to look around and see if I can find some vintage bottles or maybe one of their vintage collections, see if I can dig one of those up, because this would be a really fun vert to do. So, have you had this beer? A lot of folks have. Have you had the 2014 vintage? If you have, let me know what you think. I don't know everything. I like the quid pro quo and the back and forth. And I also really dig it when you think globally, drink locally, and support the craft beer movement. I'm thinking globally today because I'm drinking a beer from Fuller's that they and their marketing group was so kind to send me. Thank you again for sending that. It's my way to try. I'm really digging this beer and glad I got to taste it for you tonight. So, to the next DJs BrewTube, thanks a million to each and every one of you for watching. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and smash that like button. Until then, I got nothing but a bunch of love for you. I'm going to finish kicking back here, drinking my Fuller's Vintage Ale 2014. And you know what I got coming for you? That's right, a big